Becky Lynch is back, and there's issues with the bloodline.
What up, Mox?
Guys, let's get into the SmackDown review and reaction post SummerSlam SmackDown. No Brock Lesnar, but we had Becky Lynch. We had some interesting things going on with the bloodline. A new t-shirt for the bloodline actually looks pretty fire. I ain't gonna lie to you. I like it a lot. But the show started off with Becky Lynch. She's obviously back. She's SmackDown Women's Champion after what happened with the 26-second match against Bianca Belair, the squash at SummerSlam. She comes out. She cuts her promo. No apologies given, no F's given for what happened at SummerSlam, how she just came in there and just took the title off her quickly like that. The rumor is that she's going to be a heel and try to get over Bianca big as a baby face. There's a lot of issues going on there with Sasha walking out supposedly because of that. A lot of stuff, backstage stuff going on, but we're going to cover that more in depth tomorrow. 5:30 p.m. Eastern time in the Wrestling Report. Me and Jonesy Chats Wrestling. We'll go in depth on that. But the show started off with this segment. She's there. Bianca Belair comes out, obviously challenges her for a rematch.
Because I have been the one that's been right here working too hard and too long just for you to walk in and try to erase all of that in 20
rematch. Then Zelina Vega comes out, then Carmella comes out, then Liv Morgan, who we hadn't seen for a while, she comes out, and they're all vying for a title shot. Why they all are, I don't know. None of them have won anything. They've lost repeatedly, most of them. And then we get like a match afterwards, a fatal four-way for the #1 contenders match, and Bianca Belair ends up winning. So it felt like just kind of all wasted just to get Bianca Belair in the same spot she was already in by just requesting, because remember, contractually she's supposed to get another chance at the title rematch for losing it.
Yeah, I mean, good way to show the show. You're going to go show the show off with Becky Lynch, huge star. She made her comeback at SummerSlam. It was mixed reviews. Some people hated it. Some people liked it. I think it was majority of people kind of hated it.
Yeah.
But the fact that they pulled what they pulled. It is what it is. She's going for the heel turn and almost kind of not saying the same level, but it kind of feels like we're rooting for Stone Cold circa 2001 heel when it comes to Becky Lynch. Like, nobody really wants to boo her.
Yeah.
It's like she's the hottest thing in women's wrestling. She's been gone for 18 months. You just want to enjoy her, but we're going for the heel thing. If it works out, it could make Bianca a huge freaking star. Like, it can make her, superstar levels of being a top wrestler in the company, because Becky at one point was the hottest thing in wrestling. So it's just, if they build that magic and Becky does what she does actually as a babyface, as she does for a heel, I mean, it can be big things. So I'm excited to see where this all goes. It's just good to see Becky back and being in the picture, and she was definitely missed. Like, the depth just wasn't there. And then going into this match, whatever. I mean, we have those eliminator matches, so it wasn't that. So I don't know. Why throw these random girls we haven't seen forever and just throw them in there and basically Bianca wins anyway. So I mean, it was what it was.
Yeah, it really was what it was. The next thing on the show, we see Paul Heyman. He's shut out of the locker room by the Usos because the Usos kind of feel kind of weird about him and Brock Lesnar. Did he know Brock Lesnar was going to be there at SummerSlam? Is he behind something? Is he going to play them out? Whatever the case may be. Later on, Roman Reigns would arrive and he would be cool with Paul Heyman. He would kind of like, support Paul Heyman, say he's part of the family or anything like that. So we'll see how that leads going forward. Then we got Cesaro versus Chad Gable, and Cesaro wins by DQ. Now, I don't know where this is headed. It was with Street Profits previously beefing with Chad Gable and Otis, but they've moved on seemingly to the main event scene. We'll talk about that later on, the way the show ended. So what happens here is Cesaro going to get a tag team partner. Cesaro back in the tag team division. Normally what happens with him, he gets a shot at the top, then goes right back to the tag team or the mid card, and then back to tag team. Seems like that's where he's headed now. Not much to talk about there, but that seems like where it's going for him.
Yeah, I mean, Cesaro, he's the man. We love him. He's great. If you saw 24/7 at WrestleMania, you just love him even more. But it is what it is. Like, he's not the strongest promo, and he probably never reached the levels that we thought that he would reach. It just is what it is. But his niche is being in a tag team. Like, he can be a top tag team with basically anybody he's thrown into. I mean, that's his track record. So when in doubt, if it's not working on the singles run, put him in tag team. So let's see where this goes. And it is what it is. Some guys are made to be middle card and tag teams and not be the top guy. And it's a shame that that's the way WWE feels.
Yeah, exactly. But the next thing on the show, we got word that Corbin is now rich again and he's happy. Now he's happy Corbin. They got rid of the sad Corbin thing. Now, the thing I wanted them to do, they never did. They pulled a lot of the stuff off on social media and YouTube, which isn't the smartest idea. They got to do that stuff on the show. They decided not to. He won all the money. They showed it on his YouTube channel, or I'm sorry, on social media, on his Instagram, that he won all this money, and now he's back. He showed up with a Bentley. He's rich again. No longer bum-ass Corbin. Whatever. I kind of wish they would have went further with this. He calls out Big E to kind of try to buy off the title off of him. The Money in the Bank off of him. Offers him $100,000. He doesn't accept. So you may see a Big E Corbin kind of feud heading out after this continuing. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the way they changed this back into Happy Corbin. They should have rode it out more with Sad Corbin, have more of that stuff on TV, not on YouTube or social media.
I just think that Sad Corbin, miserable Corbin, bum-ass loser Corbin is just more interesting than rich Corbin. Like, it's just like, who cares at that point? All right, another heel that's got money, blah, blah. Like, no one, that's been done a million times. Yep. But it was something we can get behind with this poor guy, and if you just would have spent more time on it and kept going with it, and like just WWE, they just ask things like before they can even get any momentum behind it. Like, we were starting to get a little momentum, it was starting to be funny, like especially with Pat McAfee throwing in those jabs. Like, it was working, it was doing something. It really could have got pretty big if they just would have kept with it, but they felt a different way, and now we're just gonna have him as a mid-card guy who's basically just gonna lose to Big E. I mean, as a rich guy, it's just, it's basically what he was doing before as King Corbin. Now he's just a rich Corbin. So it's the same freaking thing. It's just whatever.
Yeah, it's not really working out too well. I'm not a fan of this. I'm really upset by that, how he's not Sad Corbin anymore. Next in the show, Shinsuke Nakamura, Rick Boogs taking on Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode, the Dirty Dogs once again. They have this match. Boogs and Nakamura get the win. Not much to talk about here. We'll see what happens with this IC title and Apollo Crews. Edge had a promo talk about his SummerSlam victory. He's talking about how he's going to go back after the Universal title. Seth Rollins, interesting response. He said he needs to be more like Edge as he goes for the title.
This feud's not over.
So yeah, I don't think the feud's over. They may go back at it at Extreme Rules, so we'll see what happens with that. Next thing, the show, Dominic Mysterio. He is riding solo after Ray tells him he's going to step back a little bit, let Dominic do his own thing. He's taking on Sami Zayn here. Dominic does lose to Sami Zayn, and then there seems to be a little more dissent between Dominic and Ray, kind of like a Batman and Robin kind of dynamic they have going on here, where Ray, is letting Dominic do his own thing, but Dominic keeps failing, keeps making mistakes, and then he feels upset by his dad because his dad, it's just a lot of stuff going on there between these two, and we'll see eventually when this is going to happen, when the feud is going to start, Dominic versus Ray.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not excited to see father versus son, but it makes the most sense, and the fact that they're booking it pretty good. I mean, it's not like so obvious, like they're working it in, like just the set coming through between them, or the misconnection that's going on. So it's been interesting, but this is his first time going solo, and it'll be his first solo feud to be with his father. So at least he'll be taken care of. But we'll see where this all plays out. Yeah,
and then the next thing I showed was the championship celebration. Now this is just big grandiose thing. Obviously the bloodline is just a massive thing. The way they shoot it, the way they produce their entrance and their whole look, it's amazing. It makes it feel huge, bigger than life. Here comes the bloodline. They're in the ring. They're having a celebration, talking about Roman Reigns defeating John Cena, giving love to the SmackDown tag team champions, the Usos. They're all in the ring, all looking great. They get interrupted by Finn Balor, who comes out saying he's gonna eventually get his comeuppance on John Cena for what happened to the contract signing, but he wants Roman Reigns, talking about Extreme Rules, but then he wants him next week, so he's gonna take him on next week and then go from there. So we'll see if he accepts that match. But then I like the brawl that ensued, because even with the 3-on-1, you see Finn Balor doesn't care if he gets beat up by the Usos. He's trying to get as many shots in on the champ as he possibly can. Then you have the Street Profits coming out and attacking the Usos. This is interesting because
Balor doing his best to force the Tribal Chief's hand. Coup de grace. Is Balor gonna get his
interesting because we had Naomi debut on SmackDown as well early in the night, get dismissed by Sonya Deville. So could we see a heel?
When's my first match?
Naomi, I gotta be honest with you. I didn't even know you were coming to SmackDown. Matter of fact, no one even.
Deville. So could we see a heel turn? Now, interestingly enough, they have the Street Profits beef with the Usos now. They obviously have Bianca Belair in their back pocket because of Montez Ford being her husband, and then you have the Usos, where Jimmy is the husband of Naomi. So could we have a little bit of that thrown in there and get Naomi to the top of the card when it comes to the women's division? So could we have that? That could be another caveat thrown in here. So we'll see how this turns out. But shout out to Street Profits. They're in a premier spot now, dealing with the main event, because the Bloodline is the main event. And then Finn Balor. Now you have two feuds for SmackDown. Finn Balor will probably take on Reigns at Extreme Rules while they set up Reigns, Lesnar, kind of teasing if
Survivor Series Rumble.
Yeah, if Heyman has something to do with it or something like that, they're going to continue to tease that as the time goes by. But it's really solid stuff by WWE. This works really, really well. It gets Finn Balor in there. He's legit. He shows up there. Obviously, we don't believe he's going to win or anything like that, but it sets up nicely for Reigns, Balor, then Reigns, Lesnar down the road.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that the highlight of this was just bringing back Finn, and we all remember how embarrassing it was where John Cena just basically like, get out of here, bro. Like, just in that sign of paper, and just, it was kind of push him to the side. He hasn't really been doing anything since then, and he wasn't even at SummerSlam. So the fact that he's here, he's back, they got him hot, it felt good. He took on, he didn't care, he had the numbers against him, and now that he has backup too with the Street Profits, it just adds to the whole collection of what we can do. So basically, everything the Bloodline touches right now is just straight fire the entire time. I love it. Everything they do is awesome. Yep. I love the Paul Heyman facials and like the back and forth with him and Roman today. That was perfect. I love where they're going with that. There's so many little things they get throwing in. I wish everything was as good as the Bloodline Tribal Chief just storylines. Everything has been good. I have not hated one thing. So Finn, of course, makes sense to be the next guy, but he's just filler right now between what we're going to see Roman versus Brock, whether that's a Survivor Series, whether that's a Royal Rumble, or, you know, is it going to be like a 2-match classic, 3-match classic? Who knows? We'll see where this all goes, but they definitely did a good job of bringing Finn back, and he feels important. So thank you. Hope they keep that up. Please don't mess it up again. Please, please, please.
Yeah, when it comes to Finn, what they got to do is they got to kind of treat him like they treated Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns, really have him take Reigns to the limit where he seems like a legit guy who can actually maybe surprise us and beat him. If they could book him similar to the way they book Kevin Owens, I think they could play it off very well and work out very well. But great stuff from the finish of the show. So we'll see how Naomi, if Naomi plays into this, stuff like that. But guys, that's our SmackDown review reaction. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Make sure you tune in tomorrow for the Wrestling Report at 5:30 p.m. Me and Jonesy chats wrestling. Make sure you tune in, because after this, we're going to drop our Rampage review and reaction. Make sure you tune into that one. Also got some stuff in the works for you guys, some different opinion topic videos covering some certain stuff between WWE and AEW, a lot of stuff like that. Appreciate you guys tuning in. If it doesn't work for you, bro, do not do the job.
Later, box.